Alright, and we're off. I'm gonna cruise through this residential for a bit until we get to the main road. Let's see. Let's go left. I'm up for just a simple cruise. One of my subscribers, one of you guys, so graciously gave me an idea of my next video. And the idea was to just kind of go over the bike, talk about what I've done to it, my history with the bike. So that's what this video is going to be about. Kind of my history with this bike, how long I've had it for, what I've done to it so far, future plans for the bike. So we'll start with when I got the bike. Right now, as I'm filming this, it is October, middle of October. I bought this bike. Whoa, did they take this light out? Interesting. And there's cops up there too. Can I still make a left here? Oh, the light's out completely. The lights are all out. Ah, I see. Well, that's interesting. Sweet. Mr. Cop. Alright. Scatterbrain for a second. Just like I was saying, this is October, and oh damn, all these lights are out. What in the world is going on? I picked the wrong day to come down this way. Oh geez. Bought this bike in February of this year, February of 21. I decided to make this a quarantine project. So I picked this up beginning of February, and my plan was to spend maybe 4 or 5 months just building it, just doing little things here and there. I learned how to weld so I could work on this bike. My neighbor has a welder. I don't have a welder. I've never built a bike before, so this was going to be my first build. When I bought the bike, it was in pretty rough shape. Let's get in front of this guy. Bike was in pretty rough shape. The carb was jetted pretty bad. I don't think it was jetted at all, honestly. And the bike didn't run that good. When I first test rode it, I kept stalling out because it just wasn't getting enough gas. The tires were pretty bad. I had a leaky fork seal. It had different handlebars on it that were really too narrow for my taste. It didn't even come with a brake light or license plate frame. What are we doing? Mr. Popo, man. The paint on the tank was pretty crappy. It was chipping. I don't know if it was original paint or if it was aftermarket or rattle can. I don't know. The paint was bad. Didn't come with the rear fender. The bike was in pretty bad shape, and I'll put a picture of it up so you can see what it looked like when I first bought it. But yeah, so I picked it up really cheap and just brought it home and decided for it to be my quarantine project. Let's see how you guys can hear me in this tunnel. It's pretty damn loud. I brought it home. It was kind of late at night, so I just sat in the garage for 20 minutes staring at it, coming up with ideas of how to build it. Went to bed that night, woke up the next morning, and got right to work. You know how I said this was supposed to be my quarantine project? How it was supposed to take me like 4 or 5 months to build, and I was going to take my time and really learn. Yeah, I completed the build within like 3 weeks. So by March, I had already pretty much finished it. I didn't finish it completely, but essentially I built this bike in 3.5 weeks. And I'm not like trying to toot my own horn or brag or anything, but when I get into this mindset, this mode of building or creating or just doing something that I'm really passionate about in that specific moment in time, I will not eat, I will not sleep, I will not go to the gym, I won't do shit other than work on this bike. And sometimes I get cranky because most things never go as planned, so there's always setbacks. Nothing too major, usually minor setbacks, but because I have this vision of how I see it, I just want to just get it done. I'm not like rushing it. I don't ever rush it, but I have a steady workflow that I usually create for myself, and then when I have to deviate from that, it kind of bugs me. Whether it's me setting too high expectations for myself, I don't know, but if I can't figure it out, if I don't know how to do it, I'll figure it out. That's kind of how I approach this motorcycle build, how I approach working on my other bikes that I have, kind of how I approach life in general. If I don't know how to do it, don't know what's going on, I'll figure it out. Right? So, oh, almost stalled. So the first thing I ever did to this bike was change out the handlebars. I had these really, man, look at all these tents. I had handlebars that were like this, super narrow, and I didn't like it. So I decided to change them out for these ones. I have a build video on that. And these ones feel much better. Much better. I'm not running any controls up here. The only thing I am running that's electrical up here is the front brake light switch. These don't even work. I could pop them out, but I'm just too lazy. What else did I do? Oh, I bought a rear fender and a sissy bar from TC Bros. And that's when I began my fabrication. So I had to chop the fender and then welded on some fender struts. I lined up the sissy bar, welded on the sissy bar, and everything was pretty much straightforward. Nothing I bought was bolt-on for this bike, so everything was strictly fabrication. But it was fun. I learned a lot. So after I did that, after I was done welding, I changed out the leaky fork seal. I think it was just the right one, but I rebuilt both forks, put some heavier weight oil in there, so it's a little bit stiffer in the front end, which I kind of regret doing because what I forgot to mention earlier, this is a hardtail bike, and softer suspension in the front helps a lot more than the heavyweight oil that I put in there. I did not hardtail this bike. I bought it already hardtailed. That's pretty much the only crazy mod that was done to this bike, aside from the exhaust and the intake. So those came with the bike. So after I did the fork seals, which I have a video on too, I rejetted the carb. I didn't do a video on that because that was super tedious. I did mention it in one of my other videos, but I was so cranky I didn't want to film me taking off the carb, rejetting it, emptying out the gas, putting gas back in, cleaning out the carb, trying to find different jets that work, making sure the jets are clean. It wasn't a nightmare, but it was very tedious, and trying to film that whole process and then edit it to make it look like I'm not pissed off all the time was going to be a challenge. So I decided not to film it. But after I got the carb all squared away with the help of Eric from Casa Customs, who works on the Honda Shadows. Wow, it's a nice open road, baby. With the full beans all the way. Let's go very fast. And don't even have a speedometer, so I don't know how fast I'm going. But after I got the carb squared away, I went ahead and stripped the tank of all the paint. I just decided, get over, pop, crack, jeez. I just decided to leave the tank raw. I did clear coat it, but I think I could have done a little bit better of a job because there is like rusty spots. Oh no! I lost my paper. Oh, that sucks. Oh well. There are rusty spots here, which I don't mind because it kind of fits the theme of the bike, but it did look better when it was just nice and clean. And then I also clear coated the rear fender and sissy bar. But again, I don't think I did too good of a job on that because it is a little rusty. But the rust matches the slight rust on the tank, so this is one bike that I knew going into it wasn't going to be pretty, wasn't going to look the best. It just needed to function. I just wanted it to run good, and that's about it. And that's pretty much what it is. It doesn't look the best, I think it looks awesome, but it runs great. Carb is tuned perfectly, and it starts up every time. It's a Honda, it's reliable. I got no issues with it. So after I clear coated everything, I decided to work on the undercarriage of everything. And what I mean by that is under here, there's no wires, or there's no tubes. All that carb and emission stuff I took out of there so you can see right underneath the tank, above the engine. Typical bobber chopper look. The tank isn't raised at all, but because underneath is cleaned of all the hoses, it does give it like a lifted tank appearance, which again I like. So aside from that, I am pretty much done with this project. There is one more thing I have to do that I don't know why I've put off for so long, is I have to, so right now the battery, if you go, okay, let me start with this. If you go on YouTube and you type in Honda Shadow bobber builds, or hardtails, or something along those lines, usually they relocate the battery right behind or right in front of the rear wheel, underneath the seat, like right in the section of the frame. There's a little square cutout, and that's where my battery is. However, because I wanted to ride it so damn bad, and I, again, like I mentioned before, got impatient and wanted to just, keep my workflow and work on it, finish it, take it off a ride. I just zip tied the whole battery to the frame with heavy duty zip ties. That's the only thing that's holding the battery to the frame and from scraping on the ground and completely fucking up my bike. Just 2 zip ties. Granted, they're very, very thick zip ties, but just 2 zip ties. Look at that beach, man. Never gets old. Riding along the coast. So my next project, and I will film it, will be creating either a box or some type of bracket for the battery to sit in, so it's not being held up by 2 zip ties. But that's the plan for the next little project on this bike, is to build a battery holder. But other than that, it's pretty much done. And I just plan to kind of ride this bike, around the city. So this is kind of like just a bike I can look at to say that I built it, and something I just take out for little cruises. Holy shit, that was a big ass pothole. I just take this out for cruises and kind of do exactly what I'm doing now. Just do something super mellow. Oh, what I forgot to add to what I've done to this bike is I put on a new chain and a smaller rear sprocket for a better top end. so I'm not ringing out so much. This bike only has 4 gears. Oh, come on, man. I forget what your name is, but you know who you are, who recommended I do a video like this. Thanks for the recommendation. Gave me an excuse to get out and ride and film. Not that I need an excuse, but it's always nice knowing what you're going to film before you go out and actually film it, rather than kind of having scatterbrain and trying to fumble for something to talk about. So thanks again for the comment and for the video idea. If you guys have any other ideas you guys want me to talk about, or you want to see me on a different bike, who knows? It could be anything. Talk about anything. Let me know. I'll be more than happy to, throw my 2 cents out there in the world. And just remember, you gotta take it with a grain of salt, because I'm just some random guy on the internet. You don't have to listen to anything I say. Yeah, it'd be cool to get some ideas down in the comments. So yeah, thanks again for watching. I do appreciate it. And I'm going to, kind of play around in traffic until I get to where I'm going. So I will see you guys on the next one. Peace out.